Hey boys and girls, the Junkman here with another episode of DETALKS. And today we are going to be covering the subject of claying. I've got Levi Gates with me.
Hey Jay.
And Brian Prescott. Man, I tell you, we got this down to an art form. But this is a subject that some folks may be slightly confused on. A lot of times I will see on forums and YouTube where folks will clay a car and then go straight from claying to wax.
It's me.
Depending on how you clay, and if you've seen any of my old videos using the actual clay, I scrub the crap out of that paint because I can't stand claying, test it, still clay, test it.
You want to do it once.
Yeah,
once
I want to get it over with. Because these ball and socket joints, man, they jokers got some age on them, okay? So I'm not trying to be out there cleaning all day. Now, thank goodness they've came up with like the clay eraser and the clay, they've got other claying mediums that don't require that much pressure to get the job done. But after I do any claying on a car, I will always follow that with a light polish and go over all of the clayed areas, because depending on the color of the car, you'll be able to see it or not, but some marring may happen.
Right.
So go ahead, take
Well, and a lot of that depends on the clear coat of the vehicle.
Sure. Okay.
If you have a harder clear coat, claying's not going to affect it as bad. But there's a lot of factors. There's the lubricant that you're using. There's the type of clay that you're using, whether you're using what grade of clay mitt or clay towel that you're using. They're different abrasive levels, just like different abrasive levels of sandpaper, basically.
And with that subject right there, a regular Joe in his garage, weekend warrior, should never go past consumer grade clay.
Yeah.
Stick with that.
Yeah, medium or fine. There's no reason to go any heavier.
Nothing. You're never going to need that, and if you do, you might as well go to a detail shop and have them do it.
Yeah.
But I saw that for a long time as well, and I was like, I've never been able to clay a car and not polish it afterwards. I've never been able to just go with the clay and a wax. Like, I've never saw that. But it was because I was using an inferior clay and a poor quality clay. And using a poor technique and not using the proper lubricant. So I was doing it wrong. And so for me, it was like, well, I got to do this and this and this, and then I have to polish it, so I have to charge for all this. And then I learned how to use a fine clay pad or mitt, and we'll use O&R as a lubricant. You can mix up O&R as a clay lube, just increase the dilution. Instead of 1 to 256 like the standard dilution, you can mix it to 1 to 128, and that will make it a lot smoother, slipperier. And then with that, you can also use the Optimum car wax as a lubricant for your mitt, and no pressure. You just want to graze it until you hear it disappear. And there are some cars where I've had some employees of mine, they push a little too hard and they do mar the surface. And it happened on my own car just this past week. I got a couple spots that marred, but it was two small areas that weren't a problem, and we did polish over them just to smooth them out, but the rest of the car came out phenomenally. And it's black. But it does have a ceramic coating on it, so I think that contributed to a lot of the hardness in that surface. But it wasn't until I learned the proper way, and of course we do have a video on it, and once I was able to do it, it changed me, it changed my guys, and it changed the way we detail cars. And the customers that we've done it for love it. They love the results, they love the way it looks, and we can do it in under 30 minutes. And for us, that was the key. So instead of taking a wash, clay, and wax, the old school method of bucket washing a car, claying a car, drying it off, then claying it, or claying it while it was wet and using a lubricant, and then putting on old school Carnauba wax, which we were only going to get 3 to 4 months out of it anyway. We're getting 5 months out of the wash, clay, and wax setup that we use using the Optimum products and our mitt, and we're getting it done in 30 minutes. So instead of 3 hours, we're getting it done in 30 minutes. And my guys are able to get it done. The results are identical. And again, you know, on those cars that my guys, if they do go a little hard or a little heavy, we do polish that spot out. But we're saving so much time. We're already under those 3 hours, so if it takes us another 20 minutes to polish a door back, then we're good, or a spot.
Okay.
But a lot of it is technique, and you have to learn the technique. If you don't know what you're doing, you're going to mess it up.
I would agree. Brian?
I've met a lot of people, because I deal with car enthusiasts. Like, I'm not usually typically dealing with like the minivan or something. I'll do that every once in a while, but I'll deal with car enthusiasts because people love their cars, and that's why they bring them to me. And they'll be like, yeah, you know, a month ago I spent 3 hours cleaning my car. I'm like, 3 hours cleaning your car? That's some dedication. I don't know if you're just doing it, you know, a centimeter by centimeter, but yeah, I can, you know, clay a car in, you know, 30 minutes, no problem. But that's just because, you know, I'm not using regular clay anymore. If I drop that clay, goodbye clay.
Right, exactly.
If I drop my clay mitt that I'm using, I just go in my wash bucket or in the sink.
Right.
Boom, no problem. Now we're back in action. That's what's really enhanced, you know, my claying, because instead of, you know, using this little puck of clay, now I have this nice wash mitt that, you know, I can spread my fingers out and get nice even pressure over panels, and boom, panel done. You know, so that's
and it's the technology that has gone into the clay. It's totally different than it was 10 years ago. And 10 years ago, when I was using the first series sets of clay sponges, I was like, oh, these are game changers. This is great because now we're not destroying it. In a volume shop or production shop of a detail, you don't want your guy dropping a clay bar on the ground.
Expensive clay
Yeah,
bar.
they're
You gotta buy another
Yeah.
one. And so we got these sponges, and it was like, wow, okay, now we can. But we didn't know that, you know, they were marring everything.
Yeah.
They were destroying paint left and right. But now the newer clay sponges and clay mitts and companies, you know,
Well, I'm a
have
big
really
fan
put a
of
lot in.
the clay eraser.
Yeah.
That's the one that I like using now, the clay eraser. And it doesn't require hardly any pressure. And it does a good job, and it's going to last. I've had people ask me, how many cars can you do with it? Well, I haven't reached that number yet.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
I don't know. So.
And I get about 100 cars out of my clay mitts, which is unbelievable. You know, I'd get maybe 3 cars out of a block of clay, you know, and I'd have to get a new one.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. And then and kneading the old clay when you're flipping it in on itself in the wintertime.
yeah.
Oh,
You almost want to put it in the
man.
microwave to warm it up. It's
Yeah.
so hard.
These old crusty fingers ain't what they used to be.
I know
back
exactly
in the
how you
day.
feel.
So there you have it, folks. Another episode of DETALKS. Brian Prescott, Levi Gates, the Junkman, shining out.